This industry is like a chronicle of history. From the first piece of jewelry, which was recovered as something made up of fish bones, to today's jewelry is made up of lab grown diamonds, jewelry has seen transformation. They have seen upgradation of society. It has reflected who we are and what we aspire to be. So today I would like to welcome Darshan Shah from NGopalDass Jewelers. How your family got into this business and how you decided to carry forward this business.
My grandfather and his uncle, so my great grandfather, together started the business in early 1900s. So as a company, we have seen both the world wars. We have seen two major pandemics. We have seen so many economic recessions.
Do you think there is competition in your market, or there are only few traditional players?
No, we are filled with competition. I don't think there's any dearth of competition in any industry in Dubai.
As business owners, how do you try to build that credibility?
The more knowledge a jeweler has, his credibility is higher. 9 out of 10 traders in the market, I wouldn't call them jewelers, they're traders. They are buying and selling like they would buy and sell a grocery product.
What gives you the most satisfaction when you serve?
For us, it's the interest of the client that's at our heart. So when my father used to sell jewelry, I've seen him telling no to a particular client, earring valued at 2 lakh Indian rupees. And my father was wanting them to buy a earring which was only 75,000 rupees. As a family member, I kept silent at that time. I said, Papa, but you wanted to buy a 2 lakh rupee earring. Why would you not sell it? He said, when she wore it, it looked too big on her. So it's at the end of the day, the jewelry has to add value to the person's beauty and not take away the beauty from the person.
I'm sure everybody comes and explains their story to you, that this is the story that I want in the jewelry. Has there been any story that literally touched you?
We were asked to evaluate the jewelry of a particular temple from Tamil Nadu. And the temple trustees were no longer the same family which has been handling the temple, but they had government representatives, they had other people in the temple where they were not sure if the jewelry would remain safe. So the jewelry which we saw was anywhere between 1800 years to 150-year-old jewelry.
Wow.
There was nothing in it which was in the recent past.
Hello everyone, this is Rupa and welcome to Business Blueprint powered by Black Swan Business Setup Services. So today I'm back again with another industry, and let me tell you, this industry is like a chronicle of history. From the first piece of jewelry, which was recovered as something made up of fish bones, to today's jewelry is made up of lab-grown diamonds, jewelry has seen transformation. They have seen the upgradation of society. It has reflected who we are and what we aspire to be. From the era of Egypt, when it was believed that jewelries can protect people after death, and that is how people were, after death they were given favor with a lot of jewelries, and wherein again in the Middle eras in Rome and Greece, where it was used as a status symbol, and also to give respect to the guard of honor. Similarly, in the Middle Age, we also see the jewelries were used for demonstrating love as portrait jewelries, where pictures of people you love were engraved, to the era where the jewelries were used as to smuggle letters in the time of political unrest. So jewelries have seen it all. It is no more just a piece of accessory, but it's a purposeful demonstration of a self, or our personality, or what we think, or what do we desire to do. So it's expression of our emotions. Even at the time of Victorian era, where mourning jewelries became very famous, and even jewelries were worn for mournings. To all the occasions of wedding and everything that you see from India to the West, where jewelries are worn or gifted as you can say a token of love and engagement, or a symbol of relationship. So we have seen it all. So today we have somebody who has seen this industry up close and personal for the last 3 decades, and has been successful in this business back in India and Dubai. So today I would like to welcome Darshan Shah from NGopalDass Jewelers. Darshan bhai, welcome to our show, and thank you so much for taking out time and coming to our show today.
Thank you, Rupa. It's amazing to be on your podcast.
Thank you so much. So when I was just doing a research about how the jewelry industry started, trust me, I was totally shocked by the things that I got to know, and I never thought in that direction or from that angle how jewelries has helped humankind, or maybe how jewelries tell us the story of how the society has changed.
Very true, very true. So when I got into the industry, the my cousins were into the IT industry, and they asked me, "Darshan, are you sure you want to get into the industry?" They were close family people who used to ask, "Are you sure this industry is going to have a future ahead?" And the only answer which I knew, and I still very strongly believe, is gold as a product, as a jewelry, anywhere in the world you take it, to the smallest villages in even in a desert, and it will have a value for you to encash in the local currency. You don't have to worry whether the currency is valid or not. At any point of the night, you go barat ko 12 baje 12 o'clock, you ask them कि मेरे को you need cash. I think this is the only product which has that universal value which no other product has.
You how your family got into this business and how you decided to carry forward this business as your career or get into this business.
My grandfather and his uncle, so my great grandfather, together started the business in early 1900s. So as a company, we have seen both the world wars, we have seen two major pandemics, we have seen so many economic recessions, and the company has survived through about 96, 97 years of history. And when I was in college, and my father asked, we had a choice: would you like to come into the industry, or would you like to do something on your own? And for me, it was without a second thought that I'm coming into the industry. I always loved sales as a person. Even in my school days, there's so many events where I used to do small sales. So that was something which called me in. And the biggest thing was, it was a legacy that was I was getting into, four generations into the business, now looking at handing it over to my next generation. So I think very few businesses have a survival and growth for over a period of 9, 10 decades.
So you always had that, mindset of doing business since childhood, being a Gujarati and then born and brought up in Tamil Nadu.
Grew up in different cultures, because Gujarati at home and Tamil Nadu outside, but I think that was the best combination I could have.
And then which year you landed in Dubai and how did the Dubai venture take place?
We came here in 2012 to open a store, but we have been coming here. Dubai was one of the only economies which allowed free trade uh, as compared to any other part of the world. We could bring in jewelry officially, declare it at the customs here. It was so business friendly. Uh, they could accept any currency as a deposit with Dubai customs,
Mhm.
and when you go back from your business trip, they would give you the money back and take the local currency as a duty, which no other country in the world ever does.
Right.
So I think the friendliness which the local leadership has given to business, the community as a whole, is just mind blowing.
So AN Gopal Das is doing this business since 1930,
1920, yeah, 1929, we
1929.
officially registered. We moved to Tamil Nadu in 1925. The business got registered with the British era in 1929.
It's almost so many decades of running this business, and you have seen, I'm sure you have seen your generations, doing this business, and you must have witnessed a lot of changes that has taken place in the industry while you have been here. So, anything that you would like to highlight, any changes that you have observed in this industry from that time till today?
The biggest change that I have seen in the industry is the jewelry being accepted from a pure investment perspective to a daily wear, casual wear product, where investment is secondary and its beauty to enhance the person who's wearing it is more important. Earlier, when I joined the industry, it was only an investment. People would buy it only as an investment.
Right.
So the least cost of making, the simplest designs, which did not involve much making charge or wastage, was what people used to like.
Okay.
But now people look at, no, it's okay to pay a little more if it looks pretty. If I like it more than I like a simple classical design. That shift has been really big with people accepting gemstones of all kinds. There are huge changes in the industry.
So you suggest that people have become more wiser and more demanding towards their jewelry today compared to in the past?
Far more.
Mm.
And technology has supported it. So today I can share a design which a client likes on a computer. I can send a CAD image. I can show them how the final product will look, so that they are able to decide and change if they want to change or accept it as it is, which we did not have in earlier days.
Right.
Earlier days we used to make it with hand, and what came out was what you had to take.
Right.
So now there's so much of advancement and convenience even for clients. They can see what actually the end product will look like.
So jewelry business have always been famous for being a token of craftsmanship.
It is.
However, in the today's industry, when there are a lot of machines and technology has come up, and now they can produce jewelries in bulk, and so do you think that the value of that craftsmanship or the design or the personal touch of the designer, is it fading away?
To a certain extent, yes, but there is another part of the community and the society which appreciates art, and they are really okay to wait for a jewelry piece to be curated to their taste. So there are few jewelers who specialize only on curating jewelry. If you gave an order to them, they may take anywhere between 90 days to 360 days to finish your product.
Okay.
So you as a client would have to be patient. The finish keeps going through different stages of workmanship before you see the end product. Craftsmanship on the other side, I would say in the last decade at least, has been given a jewelers themselves are giving it a lot of importance to get good products. Now we do see our next generations coming in, understanding that the industry is not just gold and silver and cash, but
Right.
it's an art also.
That's good to know. Yeah. So there is still an audience that values the craftsmanship, but who makes more money? People who are into the bulk jewelries or people who are into the boutique jewelries?
Both make money on their own style. It's the way they make is different. So boutique jewelers do charge a premium for the product because of the efforts involved in it. Per se, when you look at the gold weight or the metal weight, the diamond weight, the price would sound to be higher, but the effort involved in producing that piece is far more than we would be able to understand when we look at it. So in that sense, both of them make good money. It's a luxury product. There are people who are willing to work at lower margins with higher volumes. There are people who want to make better margins but lower volumes. So in that sense, it's a win-win situation.
Got it. As a customer, when we go to buy a jewelry, we are just seeing a shop filled of jewelries or designs made, and we choose something that we like, we negotiate, we think, and then we wear the jewelry. There's only 2 to 3 steps involved. We never know the drama behind the stage or what happens behind the curtains. So can you just
True.
tell us a little process that for a retailer, how does the whole chain works, how does the whole ecosystem, how the diamonds are procured, how they are made, and how much time does this together all this takes?
It's a very, very interesting question, Rupa, because like you rightly said, a consumer is not aware of what happens on the back end of the jewelry industry. And what we see is only the jewelry's retail stores are only the front face of the industry. But I would say 70% of the industry actually works behind the jewelry stores. When we look at gold mining, then it goes into purification, and then it comes as 24 karat bullion, which for jewelers who manufacture jewelry is again a raw material that is then converted into different purity forms into different product choices and given as direct jewelry for plain gold jewelry. But for gemstone jewelry or diamond jewelry, it goes into a third stage of once the basic design is done, it's made into sockets, frames, and then it goes into gem setting. The gems which come as a raw material for a jeweler also have another back industry where it starts from mining. Once a gemstone that is mined is like any rough stone that you see on the pebble on the road. There's a lot of planning that happens behind every single stone that you see polished, that how should it be best maximized. There is a planning department, there is a marking department, then there is a cutting department, and then there's a polishing department, which the stone final polish is what we see as a gemstone.
Right.
Then it comes as a raw material to the jewelry industry.
Oh.
Diamond setter or a gemstone setter then sets it into the jewelry frame, which is made by a goldsmith. So there are two different artisans. A lot of people ask, why is diamond jewelry cost or gemstone jewelry cost of making more than a plain gold jewelry? Because it involves two or three people more to complete that product than a plain gold jewelry, which goes through only one or two people at the most.
So in today's time, when we are going to buy jewelry, especially when it comes to gold, it is easy to understand. Okay, 18 karat, 20 karat, 24 karat, whatever. However, when it comes to diamond or gemstones, for people who are not very knowledgeable about it, how do they decide that the value that is being charged is right, or the product that I'm getting is of high quality? How do they? Because this confusion still stays among the buyers.
One thing about gemstones, the largest difference between a metal like gold, silver, or a platinum and gemstones is the metals are meltable and reworkable.
Right.
Gemstones are stones which once you cut or you polish them, it cannot be redone. This is
Okay.
the first basic difference that we'll have to understand. So, and next coming to gemstones or diamonds, at the end product, the beauty of the product which stands out is what decides the final price of the product. So, how beautiful is it compared to other gemstones or other diamonds which are mined? So,
Okay.
D color or a flawless diamond as compared to a G color or a SI diamond is more expensive because it is more rarer. It is more beautiful. To the
Right.
naked eye, at the end of the day, what appeals more is what fetches you the maximum price. At the same time, it has to be rarer. If it's abundantly available, then it is not as expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So it is these combination of color, the richness of the color, the beauty of the stone as a finished product, and the rarity of the product that decides the price. And it's again, each gemstone is an ocean by itself. So,
Okay.
like you were asking about the back end of the industry, emerald manufacturer or an emerald dealer would generally not deal in any other gemstone. But in the retail, you see all, as a retailer, I would have all the 300, 400 varieties of gemstones in my store
Right.
for a consumer to choose. But the suppliers of these gemstones would be at least half the number of stones. A
Mm-hmm.
person who deals in semi precious would deal with 3, 4 stones, but a person who deals with gems, emeralds, or rubies or sapphires will generally not deal in any other product because his industry itself is so vast. And so, the end of the product, beauty of the stone decides the price, which takes a little while to understand. It's not rocket science, it's not something that which a consumer can't understand. It's just that they have to give a little bit of time
Mm-hmm.
and be open to understanding. As a retailer, people will try to convince what they have to sell, but when you look at it with a more open mind, you will be able to understand.
As business owners, how do you try to build that credibility in the market so that the customers they trust, that they know that, because I'm sure in this credibility plays a big role. And what I have observed since childhood, that people jewelers are somebody very personal to families, and they always go to people whom they trust, no
True.
matter how the traditions are changing, or so the world is changing, or new players are coming, but still jewelers has been very close to people as individuals and families. So, how do you still go the traditional way, or do you adapt the new marketing methods? How do you market yourself, and how do you market yourself as a credible jeweler in the market?
The more knowledge a jeweler has, his credibility is higher because he's able to give the right information to the client, that the questions that the client asks. 9 out of 10 traders in the market, I wouldn't call them jewelers, they're traders. They are buying and selling like they would buy and sell a grocery product. But when you go to a jeweler who understands the product that he sells, when you go to a salesperson who knows what he's talking about, your confidence in that person and that store becomes higher. Second time when you go to him and you know that you elsewhere you spoke and you found out that what he said was similar to what other people in the market are saying, you become more assured कि नहीं, they are not taking you for a ride. So it takes a little while to build the credibility, but it's the individual's integrity that will stand out. There are times when clients come to me with new stones, there are gemstones being discovered every year. New gemstones. There are times I don't know the gemstone which is already selling in certain parts of the world. So I would say I don't know the stone. Give me a day or two. Let me do my homework and come back to you. So many times it has worked in my favor, telling at least he knows that he doesn't know. That helps in building the credibility in our industry. And the industry is so fast changing. It's a world of information. There are so many clients who have so much more information than the retailer at that store might have. So it's being open to learning and coming back with a more authentic, a more detailed response to the client, which builds in the credibility.
Very true. So now, as you know that with business, and you're in Dubai, and Dubai has almost $111 billion worth of business that they are making out of the jewelry and the bullion industry. And there is gold soak, there is one gold souk free zone, and with so many also competitors in the market. How do you feel about the competition, and how do you stand out in the market? Do you think there is competition in your market, or there are only few traditional players in the market?
No, we are filled with competition. I don't think there's any dearth of competition in any industry in Dubai.
Yeah.
And jewelry industry is not spared in any way. But I think it's the most healthiest thing to have. It revives us. It helps us to grow better, to become better. The consumers get a better product at a better price. And I think competition has always been healthy if we take it positively. If I if we sit down to complain that there's price war going on, there's never end to it.
Right.
But if there is a price war, if the other jeweler is able to do it, let's try to find out what the strategies are. Is he right? Is he wrong? Is he going to survive in the long run? If got a good strategy, he'll definitely survive in the long run.
Right.
That makes me out of the market.
Mhm.
So then it makes me up my game. With my credibility, with my honesty and integrity, if I up my game, I always lead the game.
Right.
That's very important for us to also keep upping our game, irrespective of whether we've been here for 50 years, 100 years, 200 years. If I'm not keeping relevant, then I'm out.
So keeping that relevance is your key to
Yes,
fight the competition.
very, very much.
But at the same time, as you see a lot of new brands like Cartier, Versace, everybody, Tiffany, now everybody's coming up with modern jewelries, a blend of classical and modern jewelries. And they are redefining how jewelry is designed and how jewelry is worn, and for both men and women. So, in that aspect, do you see any competition? Because is the traditional market or traditional or classical jewelry market dying, and the new design, is it a time of evolvement? What is happening here?
I think it's a fantastic thing happening both on both ends. The modern jewelry is making it more user friendly, more convenient for people to wear on a daily wear. But the traditional jewelry, which is being influenced by mothers, by grandmothers, by the family around for a wedding, I think that's going to stay. And that keeps the traditional part of the jewelry very much alive. There's a lot of innovation happening there, a lot of new collections coming out, because we also need to fight with the branded jewelry. So it keeps us on our toes, and
Right.
both industries will do very well.
So now, in the mid of all this, if you talk about profits, generally in your industry, uh, who's making the real money, and approx how much? Is it like the whether the real money is in gold jewelry or in the diamond jewelry, or the retailers, wholesalers, somebody who's get into this business, if you have to give them a tip that from where do they should start, what would you suggest them?
The margins in the industry are from very insignificant, like 20 fills, 50 fills a gram, to 50% of the gold price. It could be anywhere, depending on the product that we are selling, to the audience that we are selling, and the plate on which we are serving. No, it's just like coffee that you would drink from a cafeteria, or you would go to one and only one and have a coffee. It makes all the difference in the way it's served, the raw materials are sourced. All this adds on to the different pricing in the market. So somebody coming into the market will have to first gauge what is the field that he is looking to play at. Is he looking to be a boutique store which caters to a niche product with a higher margin, but able to be answerable to the client all his life? Or would he want to sell gold bullion? The bullion industry is very fast, very minimum margin. But when you buy, you've done. You don't go back to the same jeweler necessarily to buy or sell. You
Right.
could trade anywhere. Then that bonding with the client or that responsiveness to the client is not there. So it depends on what the entrant wants to do in his career. In a retail segment, we might have to do everything. We might have to do bullion. We might have to do niche, depending on the kind of client we get at the store. But what we want to cater is something that we sit and work and grow on.
So, what are your cream referrals? Like, what is the cream audience, or what is the kind of audience that you look forward to? What gives you the most satisfaction when you serve?
I come from a traditional background. So for us, it's the interest of the client that's at our heart. So when my father used to sell jewelry, I've seen him telling no to a particular client, ki, "Nahi, don't buy that." It was a higher in, I'm saying in late 90s, early 2000s. It was a earring valued at 2 lakh Indian rupees. And my father was wanting them to buy a earring which was only 75,000 rupees. As a family member, I kept silent at that time. I said, "Papa, but he wanted to buy a 2 lakh rupee earring. Why would you not sell it?" He said, "When she wore it, it looked too big on her. So it's at the end of the day, the jewelry has to add value to the person's beauty and not take away the beauty from the person. With these traditional values, when I look at it, I would say it's very important for us to look at the interest of the client, which will automatically bring in referrals. So we would love to work with people who are patient, who want a good piece of jewelry, who understand and go through the process of buying a nice piece of jewelry. It could be as small as 1,000 dirhams or 1,000,000 dirhams. But it's the involvement of the person in curating that product for himself or herself that makes the whole journey more valuable to us.
What a beautiful thought, right? That you are not just selling beautiful jewelries, you're selling jewelries that is making your client beautiful.
This is it not? At the end of the day, if the jewelry takes away the beauty of the person,
Yeah.
I think it's very unfair.
Don't want the jewelry to take the spotlight.
No, it is not fair to do it.
Absolutely. So, as a jeweler, I'm sure on a daily life you come across a lot of stories. Like some people come with some uh, heirlooms or their family generational jewelry that I want to transform it, or I want to do something this out of it, or something I want to make for my wife, or something I want to hand over to my daughter, so something that I want to give a surprise gift to somebody. I'm sure everybody comes and explains their story to you, that this is the
Yes,
story that I want in the jewelry.
true.
So, has there been any story that literally touched you or has moved you in any way?
Every client who comes in, I would say at least 70% of the clients we meet are people who want something to be curated specifically for them. Each one has a small or a big story. But what took away my entire 30 years, and I still not had an opportunity to relive those moments, was when we were asked to evaluate the jewelry of a particular temple from Tamil Nadu. So I come originally from Trichy. There is a temple called Gunashilam, which is about 60 70 kilometers from Trichy, which is also a Vaishnava temple, Perumal temple. And in early 2000, one of the trustees came to us saying that they wanted the jewelry which was being adorned on the deity on special occasions to be evaluated for insurance purpose. And I think they brought out about 120 pieces for us to evaluate. They said this was only 1% of the entire jewelry, but this was the jewelry that was being regularly brought out for different occasions. And the temple trustees were no longer the same family which has been handling the temple, but they had government representatives, they had other people in the temple where they were not sure if the jewelry would remain safe. So the jewelry which we saw was anywhere between 1,800 years to 150-year-old jewelry.
Wow.
There was nothing in it which was in the recent past. This was all jewelry made by so many, I would say, 100 generations before.
Right.
To see the workmanship and to have an opportunity to evaluate it, I think I still get goosebumps.
Seriously.
It's just amazing. So we had to rationally think at how do we evaluate this jewelry, because valuation of a jewelry has two parts to it. One is the intrinsic value, what is the metal content, what is the gemstone content, how much would it be to reproduce today. But then there is an antique value to it,
Mm.
which we can never ever justify. It is only a price that somebody pays for an art. Is there a calculation for it? I don't think, and I don't know. So when we had to give a price for an antique product and the same product as a intrinsic value, we had to give them two valuations for the insurer to choose a range in between. About 120 pieces, but we made a commitment to the temple that we would not retain any of the photographs of the jewelry. We would not publish this anywhere, and we would not take credit for it. But I think that was an opportunity that I would give credit, that to evaluate about 100 pieces of temple jewelry.
That's an amazing opportunity, and seeing it by yourself, something that was created thousands of years back.
True.
It's a pleasure in itself. That's wonderful. So now that the industry is changing and the mindsets are changing, the crowd is changing. Now lab-grown diamonds are very much in news. Then we get to hear about NFTs and digital jewelries coming in the picture. So with all this, where do you see the jewelry industry going? Is the industry in decline, or is it still full of opportunities? What's the story there?
Nice that you brought out the point of lab grown diamonds. I think that itself is a statement to say how throbbing the industry is.
Okay.
To have another product entering into the market, which is very similar to an existing product, itself shows the liveliness of the industry
And the demand in the
and the
market.
demand and supply. It's kudos to science. It's kudos to the innovators who brought out a product like that, which has not so far historically been able to recreate. We have been able to reproduce it, recreate it in our laboratories. It's just something which is unbelievable. I think 50 years back, if someone would have said, people would have laughed at it, but today we see it in reality.
Yeah.
It's an amazing milestone that we have achieved as a human race and science for the jewelry industry. But looking at it from a luxury perspective, it has not been able to retain its luxury value as a product. So it would, I think, it would move into a different vertical as a fashion statement, as a beautiful product, as good as the diamond, but not expensive at the same time. So it will have its own market created for itself. If you
Okay.
have seen a few decades back, there was something called as a 1 gram jewelry, which was artificial jewelry coated with a gram of gold.
Hmm.
It created its own niche. So this would become a different product vertical by itself.
Okay.
Whether it uses gold, whether it uses silver, whether whatever it uses as a base material, the jewelry with lab grown diamonds would also look as stunning as a diamond jewelry. The
Right.
only thing that it won't have is the luxury perspective to it, which
Okay.
is fair. No complaints about it. And coming to the second part of the question, where you were talking about digital jewelry and NFTs, again, it's a digital science. It's a different world. Uh, we would say today, as of today, we would not call it as a real world.
Hmm.
It's a different world which will exist, which will get created. It will become a different parallel to our existing universe. So people who are in that universe will probably want it. But
Very
today, if
true.
I think if your husband was to gift you a NFT jewelry, do you think it's going to excite you? I don't know. It's not most of us, right?
Yes.
So it would become a different industry. Industry is growing, throbbing. You'll have to visit a jewelry show in any part of the world to see how throbbing the industry is. About 2 weeks back, we had the Sharjah jewelry show and the
Hmm.
watch jewelry show. If you were able to see it,
Okay.
if you look into the number of jewelers who are participating with the kind of inventory that people are carrying, you'll see how alive the industry is.
Oh, wow.
Go to a jewelry exhibition in India and see the number of players who are there. Look at the new kind of jewelry that keeps coming into the market. It's amazing. It's amazing. So the industry as such is throbbing, is thriving, and I don't see a decline in the industry.
I think sometime back you told me, the Italy who's just making the locks for
Yes.
jewelry, and can you just tell me a little about it?
Jewelry locks for jewelry, like when you look at chain, bracelet, we all need a kind of mechanism to hold two ends together, right? It's a
Right.
simple lock. A common retailer would think, what kitne locks honge market mein? How many types of locks could there be? 5, 10, 20. But there are manufacturers in Italy who have 110,000 varieties of locks. They have a SKU of 110,000 only jewelry locks to suit the specific jewelry of your choice.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes of how large the industry is.
So I don't see any decline in the industry. Rather, I'll say it's evolving.
It's evolving at a pace like any other space in the market. Whether we talk about the digital world, we today talk about AI in the digital world as compared to the world wide web a few decades back. I think jewelry industry is adapting to it, growing with it, and thriving.
Absolutely. I think the jewelry of every era is like a mirror of the society's lifestyle, thought process of that time. It's kind of, like I said, it's like chronicle of history,
Yes.
and every era's jewelry is showcasing us what happened
In
then
that era, very
in
true. It's a
that era.
reflection of the era.
Yeah.
So true. So we create pieces which we connect with the age, which connect with the trend. It
Right.
shows what the market trends are.
I would like to ask, like, this is one golden question which everybody, wants to know, especially people back in India and other countries, or most of my clients when they come, that they perceive that the value of gold or the price of gold or jewelries is cheaper in Dubai compared to the other countries. So I would like to know that how much truth is there? Is it really actually cheap? And if it is, what's the reason why?
Definitely, when you look gold at as it is much cheaper in Dubai because the duty here is negligible on gold. So when people come from India and they generally ask me two things: is it cheaper and is it better quality?
Right.
Because Dubai has always had that hallmark of having the best purity of gold
Very true.
worldwide. It's accepted everywhere at any time. It's true to a great extent that earlier days India jewelry was not as authentic because there was no hallmarking system in India.
Okay.
So today, with hallmarking system in place, purity of gold is similar everywhere. But having said that, the charm of Dubai in terms of price, Dubai has been able to retain it. We are lower in price on the gold, but when you with the VAT addition and with the cost of production, sometimes it actually translates it to be same in price, but you do get a wider choice here. For regular jewelry, when people do compare it with India and buy regular jewelry, they can definitely get a better price in Dubai, undoubtedly. But when they go for better fashion designs, modern designs like Turkish designs, you get Italian designs, we do have to pay a premium for it.
Right.
But the advantage with Dubai is you still are able to source or get good collection of jewelry in one city, where in India you would have to do a lot of hunting to get that collection.
Yeah, that kind of
So the
connection.
amount, the variety which you get here is not generally available in any one city in India.
Right.
So in that sense, Dubai has its charm with its better pricing as compared to India or the rest of the world. The taxation in India is less, but the taxation in Europe is higher. So people from Europe also come down to in Dubai to buy gold because their VAT itself is 15-20%. Whereas our VAT here is 5%, and the government also gives a tourist refund on VAT, which makes it easier for them to shop at a better price.
If we, let's say, define the purpose of or dissect the purpose of buying a jewelry in three, one is for style statement, one or status symbol, one is for investment purpose. So yeah, status symbol, style, and investment purpose, if there are three categories.
Okay.
And if I ask you what is your personal favorite, or if you have to place a particular kind of jewelry which you like and you want to fit in these three brackets, what would you like to put where?
This is like asking me if I went to a restaurant, which cuisine I would like.
Absolutely.
Whether I would like a healthy cuisine or whether I would like to go for a fancy food. It has to be a mix of all.
Right.
From an investment perspective, investing in 24 karat bullion is the maximum return on investment,
Mhm.
but you're not able to use it as a product. It stays in your locker. So,
Right.
what value does it have? So,
Right.
you pay a little more, buy a jewelry which you can wear. When you're able to flaunt it, at the same time get a resale value on it, I think it's a better investment from that perspective. But from looking at from a luxury perspective, luxury products initially don't bring an appreciation value,
Mhm.
but over a period of time, the appreciation value that it brings in, no other product brings in.
Right.
So if you go for a luxury product like a style statement of a very high-end ruby or a blue sapphire, for the next 10, 20 years, you may feel you have not regained an return on investment. But when you go over a period of 30 years, 40 years, you'd see the price multiplying 30 times, 50 times, 100 times
Wow.
on how rare the product is. So
Mhm.
it's a very conscious decision, and I would do all three in different parts depending on what I want to use it more for.
So if I again, ask the question as in, let's say, gold jewelry, diamond jewelry, and precious stone jewelry. So if you have to put them in one of those brackets, which one you will put where?
I would divide it because each one has a place to wear. Each one
Right.
has an occasion to wear.
Right.
Where I would wear a solitaire ring, where I would gift a solitaire set to my wife, and where she could carry it, could not be to an everyday wear. But
Right.
she could carry a simpler jewelry with more variety in it, with more color stones in it, more often than she would carry a solitaire jewelry. So each would have its own place.
So for your personal investment purpose, what kind of jewelry do you buy?
I buy all. So I see which where the rates are better. Last 2 years after the advent of lab-grown diamonds, the diamond industry's prices in solitaires has gone down. So I think it's a very good time to invest in solitaires.
Right.
They currently are at a fantastic investment perspective. And at the end of the day, when you wear a solitaire, it stands out. You stand out in the crowd. It makes a lot of difference. It does.
And what is your personal favorite in solitaires? Like solitaires are procured from different parts of the world. From where or which which particular kind of diamonds are your favorite?
So solitaires from any mines are, they appear the same. They are not
Right,
different. So it's not about the mines in solitaires, but in gemstones, yes, every gemstone has a special story. If you look at tanzanites, they're found only in Tanzania.
right,
And if you look at rubies, though they are found in many places, the best rubies come from Burma. The best sapphires come from either Kashmir or Sri Lanka or Madagascar, depending on the color of the stone that you like. They are in different shades.
right.
Emeralds, Colombians are by far the best. But when would I like a Colombian emerald? When would I like a Zambian emerald? It differs from place and purpose of wearing.
So with such a vast market and so much knowledge you have to keep, how do you cope up with keeping the business, balancing the tradition and innovation part in the business?
Like I said, as we are traditional jewelry with conservative thoughts on investment has to be highest, return on investment has to be highest. But modernization comes with bringing in online marketing or visiting different exhibitions and seeing what the other jewelers are doing.
Being a jeweler or gemologist, it has always been a very sophisticated business, and it acquires a lot of skill. So as a jeweler for such a long year, what is one skill that has developed in you which has also helped in your personal life? Because I'm sure, as a jeweler you see things from a very different eye. So, how it has helped in your personal life, and what has been your learning from your career in this industry for the last 20, 30 years?
So, what I learned, the biggest takeaway from the industry is looking at things close up.
Hmm.
So, when we look at a piece of jewelry, when we design a jewelry, when we look at a client who wears a jewelry, we are not looking at a larger perspective, we are looking at a narrowest perspective. How does it actually look on them? How is the design well made? Is there, could the design have been done better? Is this real gold? A lot of times when we see people wearing jewelry, the question is it gold or is it not gold? It is a little bit of a careful eye that you need to understand if it is or it is not. Not that you'd be 100% right, but it gives you a fair idea on what is the possibility that it is gold.
Right.
It could be the way the person carries it. It does not necessarily be a reflection of the piece of jewelry.
Uh-huh.
It's the way people carry it. So, looking at finer things to understand and decipher what is being communicated helps in the whole perspective of life.
Any personality trait you think that as a jeweler, now you have that makes your life easier, or
But as a personality trait, I think like I said, going into details or being able to appreciate the vastness of the variety that we get.
very
The
true.
the in the industry, the variety that we see is so humongous. Sometimes it's baffling, but it keeps us going. Wow, the industry is so fun to be with.
So, what is your next 5 years plan? Where do you want to? The industry is already evolving in many different angles and different directions. What is the route that you are going to take, or on which direction are you going to progress?
Currently, in the retail stores, we are six retail stores. We have our own manufacturing unit with about 80 artisans in house. We manufacture most of the jewelry in house in Tamil Nadu. We are looking at growing to another 10 stores by 2030. So we are at six now. So looking at between 15 and 20 stores by 2030. Some of them in the Middle East and a few of them back in India as a retail growth. And I think innovation, we're looking at our next generations coming in, my daughter coming in, my niece coming into the business the next 1 or 2 years. So we would also like to give them a free hand to choose what line of growth they would like to see. Uh, that's about the next few years that we have in mind.
So, for the next generation who's now being prepared to handle the business in coming time, what is one advice that you would like to give them? Like any must do or any must not do that you would like to inform them?
I would say, which I tell my daughter and my nieces, we were conservative. We grew up very slowly in the industry. In 25 years as a retail outlet, we have done only six expansions. Whereas in today's general industrial growth standards, growth could have been much faster. We just were not open to doing businesses in the modern ways. I think that thing which of adapting to the modern way of working, at looking at market capitalization, looking at market percentage of what we contribute as a market share. These are numbers which we never saw when we grew up. So I think the younger generation can have a look at it, see where they want to grow, and that will help them to grow faster.
And so, for finally, if you would like to retire from this industry, what would you think you would have done if you were not a jeweler? Any other interest that you have, or anything else that you like to do in life?
This is a question which keeps coming up every 3 years within my wife and me. But I'd say retirement is only going to be in the jewelry industry. Even if we grew up, we sold off the business, there's going to be one store that I'm going to keep as long as I'm alive. That's a passion that I have. Being able to guide clients on what looks good for them, what looks better as an investment. These are things which are ingrained in my blood. I can't do without it for a day. So
Right.
even on a holiday, I enjoy seeing what how can I help somebody in the industry. It could be another co-jeweler, it could be another client, it could be my children understanding what jewelry to take on. What the industry is so large that continuous learning and ability to share it with people that I know is something that I'm going to
That
not
you're
leave for.
going to carry forward. Wonderful. Thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you, Darshan Bhai. And it was so good knowing so much about this industry. Till now, we were just looking at it at from a style or fashion statement angle, especially today's generation, or at least me. Maybe in some time we will look into it as investments as well. But we never knew all the hard work and all the precision and all the mindset and thought process that goes behind it. So today it was so good to see this industry from the lenses of a jeweler, and it was my pleasure to interview you today over here. So, thank you so much for watching us, and I'm sure you liked our episode today. If you have any particular questions that you would like to know about the jewelry industry or jewelry taste or anything, feel free to write us in our comment, and I'm sure we'll be answering it back to you after discussing with Mr. Darshan. Keep watching us. We will be back again next week with another industry and another guest. Till then, thank you so much. This is Rupaja signing off from Business Blueprint, powered by Black Swan Business Setup Services. Thank you.